Now let's do Phil Spector. He was the guy who was a massive influence on the music industry in the 60s. He made River Deep Mountain High, Be My Baby, You've Lost That Loving Feeling, the single most aired song of the 20th century. That was Phil Spector as well. Plus he produced the Beatles album Let It Be, he produced Imagine for John Lennon. The guy is a giant of the music industry. And yet in the 2000s, I think 2003, he shot an actress and went to trial and was sentenced to 19 years in prison. And he himself, having admitted that he might be a musical genius, but he's also borderline insane. It's two sides of the same coin very often. And so when he died, I read about that. It was a huge shame that he'd squandered his life in that kind of way at the very end. I had no intention of doing pictures for him, but they came. Exactly. If you're that person who can't take these kind of pictures, now would be a good time to switch off or to leave the room. But anyway, so when I got him, like as a little figure there, he was in the same tunnel there always is. Instantly, he started fragmenting and broke up into pieces. Then the pieces broke up into smaller pieces. Then the smaller pieces broke up into molecules until he was like an amorphous cloud of splintered consciousness. Unlike everybody else I've done who remained whole, he, possibly because of bipolar, but I don't know, possibly because he considered himself insane, but whatever it was not a whole consciousness. It was very, very splintered and fractured. And as I watched this cloud of almost like constituent molecules, drifted down the tunnel, like a swarm of bees or something, but drifted down the tunnel. It was very swift, this, by the way. There was very little time elapsed, because there was no resistance, I guess. He was so ill. He died of COVID in the end, which is very regrettable, in the prison hospital. But he was, by that point, a very, very fractured soul, according to the pictures. And so this cloud of molecules drifted down the tunnel and simply went into the membrane at the end with no dispersal. But it wasn't a figure like it normally is, drifting and floating and so on. It was just a cloud. And so his consciousness was not the same as everybody else I've done. This was a very, very disparate being. This was somebody who'd almost given up sovereignty of their soul, of their spirit. Involuntarily, I would say. Not a choice, but when he went into the membrane, then that brought relief. That was the end of this phase. But because he was in the state he was in, and because he was a broken man, a shattered being, by the time he died, I'm thinking that the transition was immensely fast. It was just, hello, I'm here, and I'm gone. That's what it felt like.